Hello there, all you beautiful, wonderful ladies and gentlemen of the internet. Welcome to episode 3 of my video game consoles review series. And today's review is on this guy, the SEGA Genesis Video Entertainment System. This episode, with Sonic the Hedgehog included, this episode might be my biggest episode yet of the series because I have a lot to show, a lot to share, and a lot to say about the SEGA Genesis in general. This console means a lot to me. I have so much to say. Okay, so I just wanted to say something before I start filming. Two things. First of all, I know this is probably not going to matter to the viewers that much. If I even remember to put this into the video, I might not even put this in. But I have a couple things to say. This was filmed before my Master System episode because I haven't received the box yet, but I did order it. It's coming. I live in Michigan. It's in New York right now at the time of this filming, so it is coming. It should be here probably by tomorrow or the day after of this filming. So it will come for sure. Then I'll make that episode, then after that, get that made and release this one. That's one. And then two, or this is what I mostly want to say, and if I haven't mentioned this in my Master System video yet, I'll mention it now. I am very sorry for how the first episode turned out. I watched it again, and it was kind of bad. Like, I was kind of just like, okay, this is cool, this is fine, I know, okay, yeah, that's awesome, I'm looking at the manuals and stuff. I elaborate a lot about the games, which I like, which is fine, but I forgot how bad the ending turned out when I wanted to show that transition scene with the NES being turned on. I wanted to, with it, at the end of each episode, I'm going to show the console hooked up to my TV and how it looks, and with the game running, showing you that they're placed all around in that entertainment setup. But I goofed up with the transitions and the fading, so it looks bad in the end of the episode. And I remember at the time where I did that, my software was kind of giving me a hard time personally, and that's why it turned out like that. So I'm sorry. So now my video software isn't like that anymore. So for this episode and for the Master System episode, that should look a lot cleaner. And hopefully for episode 4, it'll look a lot cleaner also. And if there's anybody out there watching who really gives a crap, for my 4th episode, I'm still debating if I should do it on the original Game Boy, or which will be the Game Boy Color, because I don't own one yet, or if it should be on the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo. Now I do own a Super Nintendo / Super Famicom, and if you're liking the series enough, what should I do? Should I include handhelds? Because it's called Video Game Console Review. It's not handhelds, right? So what I might do instead is I might just do one giant video of a collaboration talking about handhelds. I have a Game Gear. I have most of Nintendo's hardware for handhelds. I also have a PlayStation Vita, and I think that's about it. I just have all like Nintendo's hardware except for like the original Game Boy. I have a Game Boy Advance. I have a DS Lite, a 3DS, well, a new 2DS technically. But yeah, and I do have a variety of handhelds. I just don't have their boxes. So I'm thinking about it. I might make a video talking about handhelds, but that'll be in the future. So for right now, we're talking about the SEGA Genesis though. With that being said, let me go ahead and unbox it. Oh my god, you get Sonic included. But before I unbox it, let's do our little rotations. Here we have the front of the box. It says brilliant 16-bit color graphics, incredible 16-bit power from 68,000 microprocessors, whatever that might mean. Built-in digital sound and stereo music synthesizer, yup. Extensive library of hit games. Oh yes, I have quite the library behind me right now. I have a story about this box. I bought this box 4 years ago. It's 2016 at a video game store called Wireless Guru, I think. They mostly do cell phone repairs, but they also sell retro game stuff. I haven't visited that store in fucking years. I actually kind of hate that store because they fucked me over with a PS3 with this disc I had. I'll tell that story in a second. But when I got there, I bought this. It was just an awesome discovery. The guy's like, yeah, it has everything. He charged me like $120 for this box, and look how beat up it looks. Like, I remember it was over $100. Like, I see boxes. Before I filmed this, I went on eBay and I looked up SEGA Genesis, and I just wanted to buy the instruction manual, which I bought it today. It was $7. But when I did that, I saw Genesises with their manuals for like $60. Like I saw SEGA Genesises with their boxes and manuals for $60 on eBay. It's 60 or so, and I'm like, what the fuck? This dude overcharged me. This is why I don't shop there anymore. Okay, like I'm telling you, this happened 4 years ago again. So, what happened with the PlayStation 3 is that if you don't know about Dragon Ball Z and if you don't know about the Dragon Boxes were these exclusive North American releases of the whole show. There's like 7 of them released. I'm gonna show a picture of it right here because this is relevant to this box and the story. So I was watching one of these discs on my PS3. It was Dragon Box disc number 21, which is in volume 4. And it got stuck in the PS3, and I wanted it back. And I was like, "Hey, can you guys get me that disc out?" I sold it off to them because they repair stuff. But they're like, "Yes, we'll get the disc out for you, no problem." They didn't. They told me that, "Oh, we have no record of this PS3 ever existing." Like, that's such a shitty thing like I asked them about that disc, and like, "Yeah, no, we don't have it." And it was so awful that happened to me. But yes, I don't have all my Dragon Box discs anymore. I had to recreate that disc with like this old software I had, and now I have it like that. But damn it, like it just sucks I don't have it anymore. So anyways, so here we go. The back of the Genesis box. Let's get back on topic here a little bit. Okay, so here we have, I think this is the back of the side of the Hedgehog case. It is. That's kind of interesting. Over here we have this graphic of the Genesis and this giant description of it a little bit. If you want to go ahead and read that, go ahead. But go in high definition. That's pretty awesome. Roll 360 with Sonic the Hedgehog, or plug in a pair of Siri headphones and surround yourself with the music of Michael Jackson. I really want that game. Moonwalker. I don't have it yet. But there's that, and over here on the right, we have these accessories, which I have both of these. I'll be showing you them later in the video. But I actually have the 6-button arcade stick, not the 3-button one, so that's kind of a lie. I actually don't have the 3-button one, I have the 6-button one, but it's the same idea. It's just cooler than the 3-button one is. I'm just trying to get it. Alright, go ahead and pause the video. Alright. And then here we have all these awesome games. Right here. I have maybe half of these games. We have Spider-Man. I don't have that one yet. I have the PS1 Spider-Man, but not the Genesis one. Told you and Earl, I own that one. Strider, I really freaking want that one, and Spider-Man, but I want Strider so badly. I have Strider 2 in the Game Gear, but I don't have Strider 1 yet. And I do have Golden Axe, that's a classic. Crack Shot, starring Donald Duck, do not have that one. Castle of Illusion, have that one, yep. I love that game. I really want to beat it one day. I like it so far, it's pretty good. Joe Montana Football, I also had had a demo of it when the remake came out for PS3, I remember that. But I never had the full version of it, of the remake that is. Do not have that, I don't really care for football or sport games. The only sport game I do want is Mutant League Football, just because it's kind of goofy and awesome. And NBA Jam, which I do have that one. Tommy Lasada Baseball, Pat Riley Basketball. Well, that's one thing, sports, right? I think Sega started no they didn't, but I think they started like Celebrity Players sports games. I don't think Nintendo did. I think Sega did. That's why they have Joe Montana here, Tommy Lasardo, and Pat Riley's names. And Mario, Lemonix Hockey. Oh, is this that one boxing game? Yeah, James, Buster Douglas, Cyberball. That sounds awesome. Mercs. Okay. Alien Storm. I think I have this for the Master System, right? Or is it Alien Syndrome? Super Mario GP. I used to have that game. I don't have it anymore though. I do have Super Hang On, but I want to get this one again because that was pretty cool. I really liked it back then. Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi. Pretty cool stuff. We have some fun ass. Oh wait, that's arcade games I was looking at. Here we have action games. Spider-Man, Quick Shot, Castle Fantasia, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. That's definitely one game I want to get. Can you see that? Yeah. It may not be that clear to you guys, but let me see if I can just zoom in a little bit more. No. Sorry about that, folks. Hopefully you can see it okay. I'm not sure how it's gonna turn. I'm looking at a small little camera screen here, so I'm not sure how it's gonna turn on the final video. But Decap Attack, which that is a Genesis cult classic kind of. I see this game every now and then. People know about it, alright? Streets of Rage, a freaking classic. The 4th one just came out. I had the first 2 and I love them. I really want to get 3 and 4 sometime. I really need to play 4 because it looks great. And I played a little bit of 3 a long time ago. I really liked it. But I love 2. 2 is one of my favorite Genesis games now. I finished it not that long ago. I just finished it last year. I finished 1 and 2. I finished 1 years ago. And then just last year I played 2 and finished it for the first time. And I thought it was an awesome game. I would love to get back to it sometime. Phantasy Star 3, Generations of Doom. I wish it was advertising Phantasy Star 2 instead, because 3 is supposed to be the worst one. I'm still playing the first one. Which I got a bit far in that. I'm still playing through. I'm going to finish it probably this year, Phantasy Star 1 for sure. On the Master System, man. Shining in the Darkness, Sword of Vermilion. That is an alright game. I'm a big fan of Yu Suzuki. I'm a humongous fan of Yu Suzuki ever since I was 18, 17. I'm 25 now. That's when I discovered Shenmue and Dreamcast and stuff. And then I learned a lot about Yu Suzuki and his history and his games. And I played most of his games. And from what I love, like pretty much all his games. All his games are like my favorite SEGA games. But Sword of Vermilion is not too fantastic. He has another RPG on the Genesis called Rent a Hero, and it never got released in North America. It's actually technically on the Japanese Mega Drive. But there is a translation version of it that you can get for the Genesis, and I have the original Japanese version of it in Mega Drive form, but I really want to get the translation ROM. I do have it on my Genesis Mini. But I don't have it physically yet. But I really want it physically. So 688 attack sub, and for simulations, all right, and M1 Arabian Battle Tank. Okay, there we go. So I have Phantasy Star 3, and I have Streets of Rage, like I mentioned. I really want to get the Shining Force games, but I don't have Shining Darkness. I used to have Sword of Vermilion, but I sold it like a dumb because I kind of liked it. So I don't even have half these games. I have like maybe a handful of them. And I obviously have Sonic the Hedgehog. It's actually in here. So with that being said, let's just go ahead, show you the rest of the box. There's this side with Sonic on it. There he is, looking all awesome. And here's the bottom, which there's just the barcode there. Look at this. Look at all this beat up. $120. Like, come on, man. Seriously. And this side too. Yeah, that store sucks ass. And I remember back in 20-something, I went to go there. I went there months later to buy a Nintendo 64, and the guy was like, "Oh, this guy shops there all the time." I'm like, "No, I fucking don't." And I haven't come back there ever since, because I was just like, I'm done. Or ever since I bought this box, I barely ever returned there after that. Anyways, let's just get it opened up, shall we? And yes, the console was included with the box. It was, and I think that's the console I have currently. Or maybe I sold that console, I don't know, because I had a couple of Genesis at the time. I used to own the Model 2 Genesis and the Model 2 SEGA CD, but I don't have them anymore, so. We'll talk more about that later in the video. So here we go. You guys will be here for, I'll be here for a while doing, this video is going to be long. You guys might be here for a while, so we're kind of getting all over the place here. So here it is. The SEGA Genesis, right? Oh, that's a bad frame. There we go. There it is with Sonic the Hedgehog right there. So we have the console up there, controller, power brick, and the game. And behind it we have the video cables. Don't these look a little familiar? In case if you watched my SEGA Master System video first, if they do, they should, because they use the exact same cables. The Genesis Model 1 specifically, not the Model 2, not the 32X, and not the SEGA CDX. Or the Genesis 3. They all use different cables, okay? This is the SEGA Genesis Model 1, released in 1988 in Japan as the SEGA Mega Drive, released in 1989 as the SEGA Genesis, I believe. Or maybe it was released in 88 in North America. No, I think it was released a year later, 89. But this guy is built off of SEGA Master System hardware, pretty much, okay? So on the back here, as you can tell, maybe, right there, the exact same RF out as the Master Systems was. So, there's that for you. And the AC in as well. So as you can tell by this power brick right here, this is the SEGA Model 1602-1, the exact same power brick that powers up the Master System. It also powers up the SEGA CD Model 1 and SEGA CD Model 2. And I don't think it powers up the SEGA CDX. I don't think it does. I think that uses the same power adapter as the Genesis and 32X, the Genesis Model 2 and the 32X. So, the SEGA Genesis hardware has been released on multiple machines. It's very accessible to get a working Genesis something. There's the JVXI. There was even like there's the SEGA Nomad, which is basically a portable SEGA Genesis. But there's also in Japan only, I think, in like the early 90s, I believe, they had on airplanes, there was like a SEGA Mega Drive like built into like your like air to like airplane like you know, to like the seats and to like the basically into the seats where you sit, and you can play Mega Drive games on a plane, I believe, which is pretty awesome. That would have been cool if I was only born a little early, because my parents and I, growing up, I traveled a lot in Europe, so we took a lot of air flights. So if I was born a little earlier, I would have been able to do that. But maybe, because that was Japan only, so probably not. But that was cool though. Just knowing that is kind of neat to me. So I wish that technology was released here in North America, because you know I remember going to various hotel rooms and they had Nintendo 64s like all the time. Like I remember that was like a thing growing up. But anyways, here we have Sega, the Sega RF cable, which I'm not sure if this came with the Genesis or if it was the AV cable. So I box both of them up like this. Here's the AV cable. I just bought these recently, hasn't been used yet. And we have our controller, the iconic SEGA Genesis red color scheme controller. There's also, you know, they also re-released this controller with a white layout instead of the red one, which might be more iconic. But they also re-released this controller with a USB at the end for the SEGA Genesis Mini. Two of these actually. So this controller might be more iconic now, but I'm not sure. But here it is. Awesome stuff. If you hear that in the background, that's my puppy. That's BB. BB, what are you doing? Get out there, buddy. It's dangerous. All right. And here we have the biggest SEGA game. Well, not the biggest SEGA game ever made. Hell no. But the most well-known and iconic SEGA character ever created, Sonic the Hedgehog, their mascot. And this is his first game ever. Yes, this was also released on the Master System. But it's a completely different game. It's also on the SEGA Game Gear. That's version I own the Game Gear one. And it's not. Sonic came out 2 years after the Genesis existed in 1991. He did not come out with the Master System or the Genesis. People falsely believe that, and I don't know why. Like, you know, if you're a big Sonic fan, you know June 23rd, 1991. That date should be like burned into your brain like it is for me. That's when this game came out. So it's a big deal. It's a huge deal. There it is on the back, and I'm going to show you the inside. I also got this cool poster of Toe Jim and Earl in there, behind the manual, right here. Which I'm not going to open it up, but if you can tell by the green coloring right there, yeah. Look, just go on Google Images and search for Toe Jim and Earl poster. You will find it. Trust me, you will see it. Toe Jim and Earl is pretty great too. I wish that game had a save feature. Or at least a pasture system. I don't think it has either one. That's a fucking shame. It's kind of like Super Mario Bros. 3. Like, it's a really long and good game, but its biggest flaw is that there's no fucking save feature, and it should really have one. So sorry about the cursing, by the way. I'm sorry if it bothers you, but I'm just super excited to talk about the Genesis. So, all right. So before I get into the games, there's a certain important piece of SEGA Genesis technology that I want to talk about, and that is this guy right here, the power-based converter. And look, I'm not wearing a jacket now. Oh my goodness, it was chilly earlier, now it's not. But yes, this is very important because this allows you to play SEGA Master System games with the Genesis. It is backwards compatible, but it only works with the Model 1, and it does not work with the Model 2 or the SEGA 32X or the SEGA CDX or the SEGA Genesis 3 or so on forward. It just works with this piece of technology right here. And it works with the Retron 5, which is kind of interesting. But there is a power-based Mini, which basically just looks like a SEGA Genesis cartridge or a SEGA Genesis Game Genie, which will allow you to play Master System games on the Genesis Model 2. And I think it does work also for the 32X. Did I say Master System games for the Genesis? What did I say? I don't know. But it lets you play SEGA Master System games for the Genesis 2 and 32X, I believe. I think. I gotta do some research. I'm sure it does, though. If it works for the Genesis 2, I'm confident it does work for the Master System. So anyways, let's get this bad boy opened up really quick so I can show off to you guys. There we go. Wow, you know, actually, I have not opened this up yet officially. I just got this in the mail today. So a bit of a side unboxing video, right? So for this video, I got this just for this video. Got that. Got this little doohickey thing. Not sure what this is, but it looks important. So I don't really need that. But here's its manual, which That looks fun because I got the SEGA Genesis manual. Oh, that's cool. It tells you the following peripherals can be used with the power base converter on the Genesis. That is very cool. I had the Light Brazier, but that is cool that the Master System has all that. I know about the 3D glasses. Oh yeah, the control pad. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Plus my pause hold on one second there. Also, I probably mentioned this in my SEGA Master System video. I'm sure I did, but the pause button on my Master System does not work. So it's on the console itself, but the power base does have it right there. I'll show it to you that up close in the video. But there it is right there. How it's compatible with the Genesis controller, and it's a shame because the Genesis controller has 2 extra buttons from the Master System controller, the A button and the start button right there, and none of those could have been used as a pause button. That kind of stinks. You know, that's what they should have done. Let's see. The following cartridges must be played with the SEGA Master System controller pad only. Wow, I did not know that. Okay. I have Alien Syndrome. Wow. I had no idea. If I did not know that information, I would have thought my Genesis controller was broken or something. I had no idea. Oh, that's right. You got to use that little screw, I think. Oh wait, that's on the power base converter itself? Let me look. Okay, so I don't know, but I think it is. I think the original one I had that screw. I don't remember though. I only had one of these before for years. I owned it for years and I sold it off last year, and I was like, I shouldn't have done that. I probably should not have sold off my Genesis Model 2 and SEGA CD Model 2 as well, but it is what it is. I had to do it at the time. But let's see, now we got ourselves a bad boy right here. Put this loving box right there, and we shall look at this little tower boxes I have. Oh, speaking of the Sega towers, that's something I'm gonna talk about later. But here it is, folks. It's upside down in the power base converter in shrink wrap. So nice, right? Haven't tested it out yet. It does not come with a screw, but that is okay. Not a big deal, right? So again, this guy's pretty awesome. You have your pause button right there. Also, that's right, I forgot I don't have any card games. I probably mentioned that in my Master System video. And there you go. That's where you put your Master System games. Now, if you have the SEGA CD, Model 1 or Model 2, add-on for the SEGA Genesis, and you have this guy, you can't leave it plugged in because it won't. The SEGA Genesis won't. The SEGA CD will think that basically a Genesis cartridge is in the system. It says this thing has to be removed so then you can play SEGA Genesis games still. You can't put SEGA Genesis games in this cartridge. You have to take it out, which is okay. I don't think it really messes with the pins or with the connection or anything like that, because this was designed with that in mind. It feels very soft when you pull it out. It doesn't feel hard or anything. Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're yanking it out or anything. The 32X feels very similar. It just, you know what I mean? It was designed with that in mind. So you got your copy of Outrun here if you want to play something laid back and chilled out, or if you want to play something more groundbreaking and epic, you got your copy of Phantasy Star. You open up your cartridge slot right there, you open up your game cart right there, and you go, you just stick it right in there, right? So there you go, guys. See what I mean? It works like a charm, right? Yep. Right? Sorry about that. Right there. There you go. There's a copy of Outrun right there, and then just take that out really quick. And then you want to play your awesome adventure game, RPG stuff, our classic RPG game. There you go. Boom. Awesome stuff. Would have been fantastic if this had FM sound built into it. I would have loved that, but oh well. You know, FM sound was not released in North America. I've probably mentioned that a little bit in a Master System video. I'm sure I did. Or will when I make it, but I'm sure I did when it gets released. So, yeah, you know. Excuse me, sorry. Yes, FM sound is very important, but thankfully there is a re-release of Phantasy Star on the Nintendo Switch, which is magnificent. It is a great re-release of this game. If you never played Phantasy Star before, you're kind of missing out. It's on the Switch. If you have a Switch, I recommend playing it, downloading it, and you can play the game with the enhanced sound, which is fucking awesome. It sounds great. It's music to my ears. It really is. I love it. I don't mind the original sound effects and noise too much. I actually kind of like it. You know, the Master System, it doesn't sound horrible. I probably, I play music from that era, my Master System video, you can hear what it sounds like. It doesn't sound horrible. It's just the FM sound is so nice. I probably did show a section of like a comparison. If I didn't do that, I will make sure to. So as I mentioned before, the SEGA CD, I have a Model 1 SEGA CD. What you would do is that all SEGA Mega Drives, Genesises, these guys, and the Model 1s, Model 2s, only were designed with SEGA CD technology in mind. They were, because they all have this on the side. This little door, every single one of them has this, which means that SEGA was designing the SEGA CD or thinking about it back in the late 80s, right? So the SEGA CD was in mind from the very beginning. It wasn't like a Rush add-on. It wasn't like a side add-on. I think it's something they wanted to do. But then again, the Super Famicom, the original Famicom, also has a disc thing like this. That's probably where they got the idea from, because Nintendo did it with the Famicom. That's probably why SEGA did it. So you take that out, and then the SEGA CD gets attached to that right there. So they may be were going to design like a floppy disk add-on at first, and then they decided to go with compact discs because at the time that was more like, you know, futuristic. You know what I mean? Because it was more, it was cooler. And the SEGA CD was supposed to be the answer to Sega Super Nintendo, not the Genesis. The Genesis was the competitor to the NES. It was supposed to be like, we have the SEGA Genesis, it's better than the NES. And you know something else? I probably said this in my Master System video. The Master System was technically already stronger and technically better than the NES because it was a stronger piece of hardware than the NES was. So they kind of didn't need to do that, but you know, Sega wasn't doing so hot with the Master System here in North America, as it was known as the Mark III in Japan. It wasn't doing, they weren't doing so hot, right? So they were like, well, we had to do something, so they created Sonic the Hedgehog. And plus Nintendo, they had an iron grip on third-party support with the NES. You guys probably heard the story 1,000 times. I actually have a book talking about the stuff in detail, in depth, and a little bit more inside of things, like through a more internal story called Console Wars. That is a fantastic book. It tells the story of Tom Kalinske, who was the president of Sega of the early 90s. He's basically how we know what Sega and Sonic are here in North America. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't know this stuff. And he's one of my personal heroes just solely because of that. He is a fantastic guy, a very smart businessman. He was very smart. He actually helped a lot on Sonic. Like Sonic's original design looked more like menacing with his fangs, and he looked kind of like more like, he didn't look as slick and cool as he does, like, you know, his found design. He actually influenced his found design. I'm not talking about the North American design. I'm talking about the Japanese design. He influenced the original classic Sonic Japanese design a bit. He did. If it wasn't for him, Sonic wouldn't look like this. This graphic I'm probably showing you right now. He looked a little different than that. So thank you, Tom Kalinske. You're such a fucking cool guy. I don't think he gets as much credit as he should get when people talk about the history of Sega. He was a very smart person. He also, Sony, when the whole Nintendo PlayStation thing was happening, Sony came out to Sega of North America. Sony of America asked Sega of North America if they can join forces, and Tom Kalinske said yes. Absolutely. He said, yes, Sony can work with us. He said Sony should work with Sega. And then Tom Kalinske asked Sega of Japan, the Sega of Japan president, and he said, no way. He said, Sony doesn't know crap about video games. We're not going to have them work for us. What a bonehead decision. Like, Tom Kalinske knew what he was freaking talking about, right? Like, God, we could have a universe where Sega and Sony were making consoles together. But no, he said no to that because he's an idiot. So, yeah, because Nintendo screwed Sony over a little bit with the PlayStation, they wanted to join Sega. They did, and then Sega of Japan said no. So, but then when the Sega Saturn came out in Japan, it was kicking a lot of ass. So they kind of knew what they were doing with that, but they should have said yes to that decision. So, okay, so we talked about all this fancy, cool stuff with the Genesis. God, there was something about the Power-Bits converter. Oh, right, the name. So I may have talked about this in the Master System video, but on my Master System, it says the Sega Master System / Power Base. So that's probably where the name came from. Not sure what Power Base means, but that is pretty cool. Also, it is red on the inside, and it says Sega right there, upside down. Model number 1620, Sega Enterprise. Look at that, isn't that cool? Yeah, awesome stuff, right? So I was gonna get the Sega CD, but we'll do that later. So right now, before I talk about the games, which I'll get to the games in like 1 second. Since I started the add-ons a little bit, right? Let's talk about more add-ons for a second. So over here we have the other SEGA Genesis controllers and accessories. So another iconic SEGA Genesis controller is this one right here. This is the 6-button controller. This guy is primarily in mind supposed to be for mostly in use with the SEGA 32X, right? Sorry about that. It's mostly used for 32X games, but this is a fantastic controller. If you never held one of these before, its design might look a little off to you at first, but trust me, it feels fantastic. It feels comfortable. This is basically Sega's. This is kind of their Super Nintendo controller, because the Super Nintendo has 4 face buttons, right? It has a B, A, Y, and X button, A, B, X, Y button. But then they also have Z and C right here, which are like the shoulder buttons, like R and L. Well, there's no select button. Not true. There's a mode button right here, which is basically select. So this is basically a SEGA Genesis Super Nintendo controller in the long run. And it feels fan-freaking-tastic. I love this controller to death. I love both of these controllers. These two right here. This is also a great controller, which I used to use this controller a lot when playing classic Sonic games, because it would just make the spin dash go by a lot faster. But this is the SEGA Genesis Mega Fire controller. It's awesome. It's basically used for shoot 'em ups or shmups in mind. But there's one major issue with this controller. One flaw with it. The cord is really short. You probably can't tell right here on camera, but it's like half the length of the SEGA Genesis controller. Look, okay, I'll show you. Okay, now here's the length of the controller, right? Okay, now here's the normal 3-button SEGA Genesis controller. It doesn't look too long right now, but when I unravel it, okay, yeah, it's pretty freaking long. Just watch. Watch, look at this, look. See? Look at that. It's pretty darn tootin' long. Look at that. See? It's like I think about 4 to 5 feet long. It's about as long, oh my god, it's about as tall as me. Look, here I am. Okay, hold on. I'm holding it with my SEGA shirt on. This is how long the SEGA Genesis controller is. It's down to my foot. The cord's down to my foot. So it's taller than me. So I'm stepping on it. Look at that. It's about 6 feet tall, 6 feet long. I think you can see that. I don't know. I can't tell for sure. Let me just turn the camera. Yeah. So it's about 6 feet long. I can't show you down there, but I'm stretching it out. So yep. Oh no, the cord's a little. Oh no, it's a little cut right there, but that's okay. So I'm about 5'5", I think, 5 foot 6. So yeah, again, it's about that long. So also look at my amazing little E3 SEGA shirt here. I just got this in the mail today. Look at that. It's a side little side thing in the video. But I love this fucking shirt. I've been wanting it. I thought it was a fan-made shirt. I didn't know it was like an E3 event shirt, but I knew the shirt existed. I really wanted one. So yeah, you just saw my backdrop there, and saw some stuff over there I was using. But yeah, fantastic stuff, guys. Fantastic stuff. So, see, these controllers are awesome. And then we also have this guy, which I have yet to use this for any game, but it's kind of weird and awesome that it exists. It is a SEGA Genesis multi-tap / Master System multi-tap. This could be used for the Master System, because I didn't mention this before, but the controller ports for the Master System and Genesis are the exact same, and same thing with the Atari 2600. But they're the exact same. The cords are the same, and the controller inputs are the same. That's pretty awesome stuff. But yeah, look at A, B, C, D, right? You can just plug this in, and boom. You have up to 4 players for some kind of game. I'm not sure what for, but yes, there's that as well. And then there's the Big Daddy. That I love this controller. I use it from time to time. The 6-button arcade stick controller. This thing is a badass. I used to have one of these, and I sold it off so regrettably, so I really wanted one back for the longest time. And I'm so happy that I have one because I love this controller. And I love it. It's pretty badass. It's awesome. There's also a 3-button one, as you probably saw in the back of this box, but I don't want one of those. I want one of these. I might get another one of these, but I already have, clearly I have 2 6-button controllers right here, right? So, and plus it has a start and remote button up here too. I also have another one of these made by Hyperkin, and it is fantastic. It feels just like the original controller. The Hyperkin one feels exactly the same as this one. They feel neck and neck the same freaking thing. I love it. It's fantastic. Hyperkin, sometimes they make good stuff and sometimes they don't. So I think out of all the companies that make retro stuff, Analog, they're doing a badass job, I think. I was thinking earlier, I'm like, oh man, we need a company. I really like reproduction carts and games in general, because retro games get really expensive, and it's technically legal and okay for you to purchase and own reproduction games. You just have to have a legal copy of the game on another device. Like for example, I have a reproduction copy of Earthbound, aka Mother 2, North American, like a reproduction of it. But I also own Earthbound on my Nintendo New 3DS and Wii U legally. I brought the game legally, so therefore it's okay for me to have that because it's you know, because I already have it legally. That's technically okay. Like, that's what I'm talking about. So I think that's true. I heard information about this on someone else's video a long time ago. But it's okay if you do it as long as you have if the game got re-released on a modern platform, you have to own it. I also have Panzer Dragoon for the Sega Saturn. The North American copy of Panzer Dragoon that I own is a burned disc, but I have the remake of it. And I also have an original Japanese copy of it as well. That's not a burned disc. It's an original Japanese copy of Panzer Dragoon. So that's technically legal also. So it feels like it's not, or it feels kind of weird and wrong, but it is legal. It is technically okay. Plus, if you're not selling those games illegally, if you're not, like, you know, making a profit off of them, even if you are, I think it's technically okay, because people sell those games. Like, if it was really wrong, people wouldn't be able to sell those games on Etsy and on Etsy and eBay and stuff. Like, yeah, like those games are being sold online, and you know, people are like, hey, this is fine. You know, like this way we can. And plus, some games are definitely a humongous exception to that. Like this game right here. This is going to be one of the first Genesis games I show. This is not an official SEGA Genesis game release, but I'm going to talk about this game in a little bit. It is a ROM hack or a ROM remake of Sonic the Hedgehog 3, kind of. It's the definitive version of Sonic 3. I made a whole video about this guy unboxing it. It is fantastic. And when I review Sonic 3 and Knuckles, I will talk about this game along with Sonic 3 Air, Angel Island Revisited. I'll talk about them. But also, this game right here is another exception because I talked about this game earlier. I did. Rent a Hero got re-released on the SEGA Genesis in English. There's an English translation of it for the Genesis. So this is only released on the Mega Drive in Japan. I'm holding it right now, an official legal Mega Drive copy. So there's that also. So again, reproduction cards are fine. I like them. I like reproduced games. But 90% of my games are official. They're authentic, you know, for retro collecting. So, okay. Now we can finally talk about the games. So I have quite a few games in my SEGA Genesis library down here that I want to talk about. Again, this is a big part of why this is going to be my biggest episode yet, okay? So, you guys ready for this? I have a lot of games I want to talk about. Here they come. Here they come. Here they come. Besides Sonic the Hedgehog, which is over there. Here they come. I think I dropped one. This is, okay, I have two piles of this. Oh, that's my phone I dropped. Okay, alright, where's Sonic, okay, here's Sonic the Hedgehog. Put this over here with Sonic 2. There we go. Sonic 3. Okay, there's one pile of all these games. Oh, that's not even the whole pile. Oh my god, there we go. There we go, right? There's that. I'm trying to make this video look as nice as possible. I'm not trying to get the wood. So, there's that, and then there's, I have a second pile right here of all these games. Alright, so I have a lot to talk about. I kind of had this backwards. I should have flipped the stacks around, but that's okay. So, yeah, man, there's all these games. I have a little something to say, and something I have a lot to say. So, let's just get right into it, shall we? So, I'm gonna do it kind of like this. So, I'm gonna just get this turned over. Here, folks, let me just cut the video really quick. Okay, so as I talk about each game, I'm gonna put it aside, alright? So, I should start off with, let me see, where should I start? I don't know. Let me see, maybe I should start with a very iconic, but not too great, but a very iconic SEGA Genesis game. One that a lot of people probably remember. Altered Beets. I beat this game just last year, and it's a quite interesting game. It's pretty awesome and badass, but it's kind of tough. Not tough, it's just kind of, it feels very dated. You gotta play it to know what I mean. It doesn't feel up to par with like modern beat-em-ups, but it's a very slow-paced game, very sluggy and cloggy at times, but it's good. It's good. It's great to play together, 2 players. It's great to play by yourself. You get these awesome beastly power-ups as you play through it. You have to save the daughter of Zeus, which is like interesting. He also plays these like, you know, mythical Greek guys. You go through beating the shit out of like enemies, and you eventually get to what's his name? The villain. Neff? Guess his name is Neff. Okay, yeah, that's what you do. So it's a cool game. It's great. It's awesome. I know there's a crappy remake for it in the PS2. Don't play that. I have not played it, but I would recommend you playing it either. That's all that really has in the series. It's just this one and that remake. I want this game to have some kind of modern rendition because it's pretty great. That's one problem with the Sega Genesis, is that these games need a modern sequel and a modern remake. Like Streets of Rage finally has a 4th game. Tojium and Earl also finally has a 4th game. That's right, there's a 3rd one on the Xbox, but it finally has a 4th one back in the groove. Or I think it might be the 5th one. But yeah, but this is the Beyond Oasis, that Story of Thor games. They need some kind of return also, which we'll talk about it later. But yeah, so awesome game, Altered Beast. I really like it. So that's one game down. So another big iconic game for the Genesis, I'll talk about this one briefly, is Aladdin. Now, before I continue, I want to talk about this right here. In case if you've never seen a Sega Genesis game before, which is highly unlikely because they're everywhere, you know, digital art or physical art. Later in the Sega Genesis' life, in the year 1993 or so, they changed the black checkerboard box to this red, like striped, slick-looking design. This is very common with consoles and games. But I think the Genesis was the first to do this with the black look and now the red look. I don't know. The NES, their games had various different looking colored boxes, which is fantastic. I think that's great. The NES games look, have like multicolored looks. I think it's beautiful. But the Master System, you probably, again, you saw them in my video, they all look like this. Like they all had this really bleak, white-looking design. The Phantasy Star box art's awesome, kind of cool, but it still has a white checkerboard look with not much to it. Look at that art run box art, not too fantastic, right? So the Mark III / the Japanese versions of these games look brilliantly cool. Like those box arts look awesome, right? These look really good, obviously, they do. But yes, I think Sega's the first to like kind of have like a changed box art later in its lifespan. I know the PlayStation 3 did that, the Xbox 360 did that. But yeah, though, kind of weird, right? So, but cool stuff. So, all right. Let's see. I also want to talk about the Phantasy Star games really quick. I have not played these yet, but yes, the rest of the series is on the Genesis besides Phantasy Star Online, which I'm so happy we finally got to. Online too. But we got Phantasy Star 2, the original, which I changed the box art because I cannot stand the original, which I think it looks different all around. I did just change the front cover. I think I changed the whole darn thing, it looks like. Yeah. I also changed the cartridge look as well. That's what my cartridge looks like. This is an official copy. This is not a reproduction cart. I just super glued this over the original. I know. But if you've seen the original Phantasy Star 2 North American box art, believe me, this looks a lot better. It looks, I mean, look at those characters. They look great, don't they? Like, the blonde guy over there looks awesome. The girls look kind of cute, and the guy in the center looks cool, too. So, they look great. They look fantastic. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. My Sega Genesis and Master System games. Why did I put them upside down like this? Well, that's because... So, why did I put my Sega Genesis games upside down like this? Well, I don't know. Because I once got a Sega Genesis game where the person that owned it before me did this, and then it happened more often, so I was like, well, I guess I should just do that, too. I've just done it ever since. Plus, I find it easier to grab the game out, because you grab the game out like this with your thumb. So, because you're grabbing the top out, right? If you do it this way, and you grab the game out like that, you might damage the bottom part by accident. So I think this way is much better. And then, that way the bottom part kind of just is okay. I don't know. I don't think it really matters, but that's just how I do it. I don't know. I don't know. Oops, sorry. But yeah, the Phantasy Star games are great, except for I heard 3's not too good, but I've yet to play it. Generations of Doom. Good stuff. Also, I don't own any of their manuals. I have all 4 games, but I don't own any of their manuals. It was not intentional. Not at all. No, I didn't mean to do that. That's just how I own them. See? I probably mentioned this a little bit in my Master System video, but yeah, I don't know. That's just the way it is. So, there's that, right? Awesome stuff. Okay. Then let's talk about this game. This is a classic Genesis game, very iconic one. A very iconic Mickey Mouse game. I really like this game a lot. It's not as good as Sonic, but it's fun. It's good. It's cute. It's charming. It's got uniqueness to it. I really want to finish this game. It's got like a Fantasy Zone vibe to it a little bit, but I don't know. It's Disney, right? So it's good stuff. It's a good platformer. I really want to finish this game. That's another game I want for the Genesis. I actually just got that for the Master System. Never mind. Fantasy Zone. There's gonna be I think a Fantasy Zone game for the Sega CD that got canceled called like Super or Space Fantasy Zone, which is like a mix of Space Harrier and Fantasy Zone, like one game, and I was like, that is amazingly cool. I'm a big fan of Space Harrier. I wish I had Space Harrier 2, but I don't, to show you. But that would be awesome to like see that. So this is not my entire SEGA Genesis library, by the way. This is like, but this is like 85 to 90% of the SEGA Genesis games I own. Only like a little bit of them are still out on the shelf. This is like pretty much all of them that I own. So this game right here is pretty great. I have the first one in Master System, and I don't. No, yeah, that's it. I don't have my 32X. It was also released for 32X. The first one was for like a more arcade, like, you know, authentic arcade, like, you know, feel look to it. But this guy, Afterburner 2, is basically just the first game, I think. But it's the one people know more so. It's a fantastic game. I really like it. It's great. It's awesome stuff. So I haven't played much of it, but it's good. So just gonna say that. This game and this game, I've talked about them before a couple times. I have a whole video talking about my first video game console, which is the SEGA Genesis, and in that video, I talked about these two games right here. Granada and Road Rash, along with Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, were the first games I ever had in my entire life. Oh, nope, sorry about that. These are the first games I ever played when I was a 4-year-old kid. My parents, the Genesis came from my Uncle Mark, right? And I think I mentioned this in my Sonic CD review a little bit also. I mentioned this in another video I made recently. But the SEGA Genesis, the one we had when we were a kid, came from my mom's brother, my uncle Mark. He loaned us the SEGA Genesis. We owned it for a good 4 years, from 4 to 8. I didn't know he took it back. I had no idea my uncle took it back. But right when he took it back, my parents got us Game Boy Advances and their Sonic Advance, and it was kind of like, okay, this is great too. And then only a few months later from that time, we got a GameCube with Sonic Adventure 2 and Mario Sunshine, and it was pretty great. So we had games still. It's just we didn't have the Genesis. It's kind of like, oh no, like I didn't know that he took it back. Kind of weird that he did that. I don't know why he cared, but then again, he had kids too. You know, I have cousins, so maybe they wanted it. Maybe they wanted to play it. That's probably part of why he took it back. I think so at the time, now that I remember. But you know, these are good games, but not as great as Sonic 3 or Phantasy Star, if you ask me. Well, not as great as Sonic 3. I haven't played Phantasy Star 4 yet, but not as great as Sonic 3. Or Streets of Rage 2 even. But this game is fan-freaking-tastic. I love Sonic 2, I do. I just have problems finishing Sonic 2. I gotta cheat when I play this game, unfortunately. I cannot finish that final boss. He's just... No, I can't do it. If I play the game without collecting Chaos Emeralds, I could beat him if you give me a couple tries. But while playing this game with Chaos Emeralds, I gotta use those codes, man. I just can't. So, sorry about that. But anyways, yeah, Sonic 2, man, it's a good game. So is Sonic 1. But I love Sonic 2, I love Sonic 3, so... I'm talking more about Sonic in a little bit, but these two games are great. Road Rash 2 is an iconic game in general, I think, for the SEGA era. Granada, not as much. This is a very underrated underground game. Not a lot of people know about it. It's just an overhead tank shooter, and it takes place in 2016. Isn't that weird? It's like an apocalyptic game that takes place in 2016. 2016 was not the best year for a lot of people, so that is very interesting if you ask me. So there's all that stuff. Okay, what game should I talk about next? I don't know. I'm just kind of pulling games out of my hat here. Let's see. I want to talk about Rocket Knight, so maybe. Well, yeah. Well, let's see. I want to get to the iconic Genesis games towards the end. So, yeah. All right. I'll talk a little bit about this guy right here, Sparkster, Rocket Knight Adventure. This game is great. I have yet to finish this game still, but I'm still, you know, playing through it. I'm also playing through Snatcher, and I finally got to the part in Outer Heaven where you see him in Outer Heaven in that nightclub. But this game is great. It's fun. It's fantastic. It's really tough. It is. I think I got up to level 4 so far in this game, and oh my god, it kicked my butt a little bit. I was like, okay, I need a break from this game. Like, one problem with the SEGA Genesis that the Super Nintendo, I didn't say this yet, but the Super Famicom / Nintendo and the SEGA Mega Drive / Genesis have like opposites in terms of platforms in RPGs. The Genesis has platformers balance out RPGs. It has more platformers than does RPGs, and the Super Nintendo has more RPGs than it does platformers. I noticed that it does, so I think it's very interesting. But like, games don't really have. If it's a platformer, it has like no save feature. If it has an RPG, there's a save feature. During the 16-bit era, I have noticed that the only platformer that's 16-bit. There's a couple that I know of that has save features is Super Mario All-Stars, Super Mario World, and Sonic 3. Sonic 3, Super Mario World, Super Mario All-Stars, they all have a save feature, but what else is a platformer? Does Super Metroid count? Maybe. But okay, fine, that's 4 if you want to count Super Metroid. And Donkey Kong Country, that's 5. So yeah, so those are first-party Super Nintendo games. They had save features, right? So I really wish that Sonic did have one, but it was during the time where that wasn't really a big thing yet. So, you know, I can excuse it. At least Sonic 3 has it, and Sonic CD has it too, but it doesn't work the same way Sonic 3 does. It's that it saves after a stage saves, but you can't go back and replay stages in Sonic CD. You have to. Once you get to Metallic Madness, which is the last level, that's it. Like you play that level over and over again, basically. Like the game saves after you finish the level. You have to play Sonic CD to know what I mean, and you probably have. So maybe if you know Sonic, you may have. So, anyways, these two games right here are games that both me and my wife really like, but they're not. Well, we love the movies. We love the movies. Like, you know, these are the two of like her favorite films. They're two of my favorites too in a way, but Jurassic Park definitely. But I also really like Lion King, but the games, the Jurassic Park game is neat. It's fun, it's good, it's interesting. It's not the best, but it's not that bad either. Lion King, you probably know, this game is that second level with the monkeys, man. Oh my god, I never got past that level. I might try to one day. I also have it for Game Gear, so I also have it for the Switch. I have the re-release of Lion King Aladdin for the Switch, so I might try to do that one day. I might. So, all right, those games are awesome. Here we have Green Dog, the beach surfer dude. That has a reference to GameStack. I really like their show. But, Green Dog, believe it or not, the first time I've ever heard this game was in a song. That is very true. It's from a song, from an album that was like a tribute, or like, yeah, basically a tribute to the SEGA Genesis. It was called Loser. And I forgot what the song was called. But it was basically a rap song about this guy who grew his experiences as growing up with Genesis, and he sang a little bit about this game. And I'm like, what the hell is Green Dog? And that album helped me learn so much about the Genesis, about other games I didn't heard of. Like, that's how I first discovered Streets of Rage. There was a song on there that I really liked that was from Streets of Rage, and then I kind of learned more about it over time. So I also first heard Streets of Rage music from a Sonic the Hedgehog remix song. I forgot it was a couple. It was from some classic Sonic album, but it was really interesting stuff there. It was like a remix. I think it was They Call Me Sonic. I think it was from the same album and that song, but I don't think it was that specific song. So we'll get to Sonic in a little bit. Don't worry. We'll get to Sonic soon. Okay, Sonic means a lot. Don't worry. So right now we're gonna talk about Golden Axe. Wait, maybe not, but because that's another kind of SEGA Genesis game. But that's fine. We'll talk about it real quick. I don't have the sequels. I heard that the sequels are not that great for Genesis, but the arcade one is. I think it's called Darth Adder's Revenge. That's the name of the villain, Darth Adder, like Darth Vader, but with no V. I believe that's his name, right? I think that's his name. I think it's Darth Adder. Let me see. Let me tell you his name. Let me see. Go next. Yeah, Death Adder, not Darth Adder. Death Adder. So Golden Axe is a cool-ass game. I really like it, but it's really tough. They remade this game in 3D, and it's on the PS2 in North America. It is, but part of a compilation disc called SEGA Classic Vintage Collection, and it plays just like the original, but it has a save feature, which is like awesome. I don't know if it's 2 players though, but it does have a save feature, so that's pretty great. So Golden Axe is some good stuff. It's a good game. It's kind of tough. I still have yet to beat it. Okay, let's talk about a couple more games. Okay, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. I'm a humongous fan of the DC animated universe, the Timverse. A humongous fan. When I was a little wee lad, me and my older brother used to watch this and Superman, the animated series. And then when I was a little older, I think I was like 8 or 9, I saw Justice League, and I loved Justice League. And then we watched Static Shock and all these other great shows that are part of that universe. And then we watched Teen Titans, which is not a part of that universe, it's its own universe. But yeah, man, I'm a huge fan of it. And I have almost every version of this game for Sega. I have it on the Game Gear, I have it on the Sega CD, and I have it on the Genesis. I don't think that's anything else. I used to have the Super Nintendo version also, which I really like that version. I might get it again. But it's slower paced than this game. This game, though, kicks your ass. It is a tough game to play through. I never saw the box art before for the longest time, so I used to just see this. Oh, I didn't know I had the manual. Cool. I used to just see this. Oh, this is a reproduction card of it. Oh, I didn't know that. I thought I had like an official copy with just a reproduced case. But anyways, I used to just see this. And I was like, what's that white stuff on Batman? Is that supposed to be snow? I think it's supposed to be snow. and it was. But I thought it was maybe something else. Like maybe it was like some like I don't know, some like enemy like goo on him or something. That like the Joker, like there was some like I don't know, like you know like some like parasite on him or something. I didn't know what it was, and then okay, it's fucking snow, of course. So there you go. Look at Mr. Freeze in the background. That's a little bit out of character. Like what's going on in this picture? They're all having a big snowball fight, and they're excited about it. Mom is just about to kick Joker in the back of the head there. Like this box art it symbolizes the show a little bit, but it's a little bit weird too. But I freaking love everything about that. Here's some screenshots from the game. This is a cool game, but it will kick your ass. It will. Trust me. I don't care how good you are at video games. That game is tough. It is really tough. It's beatable. Oh my god. It is tough stuff. Trust me. We'll get to Sonic. Don't worry. I'm building my way up to there. So let's next talk about Vectorman a little bit. Vectorman is good. I still have to play this game. The first time I ever heard of Vectorman was from my best friend. His name's Tony. I talked about Tony a lot on my channel, but we used to talk about me and him are still. I'm more into Sonic than he is, but we used to talk about Sonic a million times back in the past. And so we were talking about Sonic Gems Collection. I didn't have it, he did, and he told me in Sonic Gems Collection there's a game unlockable called Vectorman, and I'm like Vectorman. He's like yes, it's called Vectorman, and no, it has nothing to do with Vector the crocodile. And we used to have like all these personal inside jokes with Sonic, so that kind of made us laugh when we talked about Vector. But yeah, great stuff, great game. It is really fucking cool. It's made by like one of Sega's like in-house developers. I think they're called Blue Sky. The year is 2049. Oh no, what? That's when Blade Runner 2 takes place. And I love that movie, by the way, Blade Runner 2049. But Earth has been turned into a toxic waste dump. Well, that kind of what happens to that movie. I'm just being a little silly here, obviously, but Vectorman can morph. Oh yeah, he can. That's pretty cool. I forgot about that. I still gotta play this game. I really want to finish it soon. Toy Story the game. I'm a big, humongous fan of this movie, just like Jurassic Park and Lion King. Well, more than Jurassic Park, but this and Jurassic Park are one of the first movies I ever saw that I remember. Now, I don't think this is the official box art. I think this is a custom box art, but I like it more than. Yeah, the official box art's kind of like not my style, but this box art I like a lot more because this is just the box art from the VHS tape. I think I still have the VHS tape. I do. Yeah, this is what it kind of looks like. So it was more nostalgic for me to see this picture, so I decided to use this instead. And it is a good game, and I got like halfway done this game before I got a game over. I think I still got to play it. These games are great. I'm just not fully used to sitting down and playing game all the way through, but I'm getting more used to it now. So I'm gonna have to do it sometime. I'm gonna have to finish Vectorman and Toy Story, and I'm gonna have to finish Rocket Knight Adventures and other games too, and Castle of Illusions. I'm gonna have to do that. I'm gonna have to, for sure. Subterranean. This game has intrigued me since the moment I saw it. Look at that box art. Look at that. Look at that terrifying, badass looking box art. I was like, this game looks really cool, and it is, and it's really spooky. Like the atmosphere is really good and spooky. I really like this game. I still gotta play through it more, but it is a shoot 'em up, but you're like in this weird underwater like area, and I don't know if you're underwater, but wherever you are, it is some spooky stuff. This is a good spooky game. It's good, trust me, I really like it. So yeah. Alright, there is another SEGA Genesis game that kind of slipped my mind. I didn't think much of it because my cartridge to it is busted. Like, the game is glitchy as shit whenever I try to run it from the minute I turn it on, unfortunately. But the game itself is a part of Genesis history. It's a well-known SEGA Genesis game, a well-known first-party SEGA game. And that game is Comic Zone. Comic Zone is pretty awesome, but difficult. Really difficult. I don't think you get a single life at the whole game. I also think it's kind of awesome how he has a pet rat named Roadkill. I myself used to have 3 pet rats I loved dearly, so that to me is pretty great. The main guy is Sketch Turner. Yeah, he's a pretty cool character. I really want this game to have a sequel or some kind of remaster. For these SEGA Genesis games, like, to see them getting remastered, remade, I don't want the gameplay part to be remade. I want it to be like kind of what Streets of Rage 4 kind of did, like maybe remake them with like a new visual style, but like keep the gameplay the same. Originally, what I wanted for the Sonic the Hedgehog games was to see them remade in 3D, like Sonic Generations, but then you can also change the perspective of the camera from a side-scrolling view to a 3D view behind Sonic or the characters. But what Christian Whitehead did with Sonic 1, 2, and CD is badass and awesome. Like, I cannot express that enough. He did a fantastic job with the classic Sonic games. And we have Sonic 3 Air, which totally fits with those other 3 games, but it isn't technically a part of them. But yeah, Comic Zone is awesome. I'll talk about that really quick. But yeah, you know, that's what we wanted, but we have now is pretty great. I really want those games to be released on modern platforms. That'd be fantastic. You know, they should be released on console and PC and whatnot. Like, it's a shame that they're not. I really wish Sonic Mania actually had a phone port. I know that's weird to say, but like, it would make sense if Sonic Mania was on mobile devices, and then the classic Sonic games were on consoles and PC. Should be with Sonic Mania. You know, like, you know, they're all together basically. That'd be awesome. But anyways, moving on. Let's talk about Toad, Jim, and Earl. This funky series. I also have the third one on Xbox, like I mentioned before. It's a good series. I really like 2. I only played this game once a while ago. 1 is great, but it takes a lot out of you to play through it. It's a top-down game. You have to look for things, explore areas. And you're on Earth, but it looks very strange. You're playing as these two alien characters that crash on Earth, and you just want to get home and find pieces to your spaceship. And it's awesome. Toad, Jim, and Earl is a Genesis classic. It's a Sega classic, and yeah, it's pretty great stuff. You know, it really is. So there's that. All right. So now let's move on to this unique little Sega Genesis game called Tin Head. Not much to say about this game. I found it at a store, and I really wanted to own it and see what it was about, and I fell in love with it. It's just a unique little platformer, and I really, really like it. There's not much to say about it. Who developed this game? Ballistic, huh? Is that the name? Is this a first-party Sega game? I don't know. Is Ballistic an in-house developer? I don't think they are, but I never heard of Tin Head. You know, I just came across it. I was like, this is interesting, and I played it, and I really like it. So that's all I gotta say about that. And I think it's great. Another Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck game. This game is better for sure than Chaos of Illusion. World of Illusion, so Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. I gotta finish this game still. I really like it. I have quite a few handful of Disney games. I also have Donald Duck. I think it's called the Donald Duck game on the PS2. I forgot what it's called, but I also have that one. So I have quite a handful of Disney games around here in this house. This is a 16-bit classic on the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. Zombies Ate My Neighbors. My wife and I love this game. She had this game when she was a kid, so I rebought it for us to play it again, and it is a blast to play together. You know, with 2 people. It is a classic game, I'm telling you. It really is. It's a great game. Never mind the crappy looking case and box right there. That just turned out bad. But these are actually cases I bought off eBay like a couple years ago. They're actually really decent Sega Genesis reproduction cases. I highly recommend these. There's also some from the Super Nintendo and NES. I recommend them highly. They're pretty awesome. Plus, they also work for Master System games. But they don't. I don't think they work for 32X games though. But they do work for Master System and Genesis games. I think. I don't remember if they work for Master. Did they work for? I think they do work for Master System games. I don't remember. But anyways, okay. Well, this guy. We'll get to that guy. We'll get to that guy. Okay, I'm cutting it down. I'm saving the Sonic games for the end, obviously, because it's on the Hedgehog. How could I not? So, Rent a Hero. I already talked about this game a bit, but this is Yu Suzuki's, kind of his 16-bit, I don't want to call it his masterpiece, but he also made sort of Vermilion. But Rent a Hero is the more ideal game he made in that era. He also, I think he may have worked on Virtua Racing, but I don't know for sure, because it has the word Virtua in it, he may have had. But anything that has AM2, the AM2 logo attached to it, he definitely worked on it. But this game is pretty good, I really like it. I'm playing it on the Genesis Mini. And so far, I really do like this game a lot. It's pretty great. It also got a bit of a 3D remake for the Dreamcast, and it's a game I recommend checking out if you haven't yet, especially if you like Yu Suzuki games. You should definitely check this game out if you get a chance. If you know Japanese and you have a Sega Genesis, you can just run this game with the Game Genie. If you can read kanji specifically, obviously because there's no voice acting. But yeah, you know, good stuff. That's right. The Game Genie for the Genesis can actually make the console region free. I forgot about that. I don't have it with me right now. I own one, so maybe I should go grab it really quick. But it will basically read different region games, and I think it also works with the 32X. So that's good. That's cool too. And it was also officially licensed by Sega. That's an interesting story because Nintendo hated the Game Genie, So when it came out for the Genesis, Sega decided to license it just to kind of do a little stinger at Nintendo, which I think that's really funny and cool. I really like that tidbit. Super Hang-On, cool game. My box is all. Look at this. This is disgusting. I had to get a new case for this guy. I mean, I forgot how beat up this looks because I never looked at this game, but I really gotta get a new case for it. But it's a good game though. Okay, Beyond Oasis. This is not the official box art for the U.S. release. The official box art looks a little different. This is the European box art. You know, used with the Photoshop editor to make it, you know, with this guy to make it look like it's U.S. official. This is what the U.S. box art looks like. This game is freaking amazing. I love this game. It's a great game. It has sound effects from Streets of Rage in it. I've noticed it does have a few Streets of Rage sound effects in it, but this is like one of the best RPGs on the Genesis. It's one of my favorite games on the Genesis right now. I recommend playing this game with a 6-button controller layout because, well, it's not now the 6-button controller is not required for SEGA Genesis games. It's not required. It's there as an option, but for games that utilize it, it's like recommended for sure, because well, it's more beneficial in my opinion. So for games that don't really need it, you know, 3-button controller is all you really need. But yeah, and this is a really good RPG. I really like it. Fun game. So I'm like in the beginning. I think I'm like at the halfway point of that game by now. It's really good. Oh man. What can be said about these two amazing games? I don't have 3 yet, but I really want 3. Streets of Rage, man. This is another iconic big series on the Genesis, second to Sonic. This is like the Genesis's big series. You know, it's fantastic. It's awesome. The music is great. The story, the setup is awesome and badass. I love the world it's in. I love the characters. I love everything about it. I also saw this fan-made Streets of Rage movie, which was really good and faithful to the story. The special effects were okay because it was fan-made, but the acting and the storyline, it felt at home with the games. It was really good. It was like look up Streets of Rage fan film. I'm sure you'll find it on YouTube. I still have to refine it if it's still out there. But I really liked it, and you know, thumbs up to the people who worked on it. I saw it years ago. But it was good, it was fun, and the games are great. I can play 3 probably on one of my, no, it's not. No, wait, I do have it on my Mega Drive, my Genesis Mini, because I put it on there. But it only has Streets of Rage 2. You know, I feel like 1 and 2 should have been on there, not just 2. But that's okay, though. I love 1 a lot. It's a great game to replay over and over again. So is 2. Yeah, these games are fun, man. They're really good games. I recommend them. Finish them both. I love them both. I say play them if you haven't yet. They're great, you know. And you know, like, what the heck are you doing, man? You know, you haven't played Streets of Rage yet. Like, come on now. Okay, now we finally get to the meat and potatoes, the best part, in my opinion, about the SEGA Genesis, the very thing that made the console iconic, the Sonic the Hedgehog games. That's right, these are the Japanese ones. They say the most famous hedgehog in the world on them. And I gotta talk about these Japanese releases a little bit. First of all, I had these coins inside each release because these came with my little 3-inch Sonic figures, the 25th anniversary ones. But these instruction booklets are freaking beautiful, man. I believe all the Japanese release instruction booklets look like this. I'm only going to show Sonic once for a little bit. But just look at this. In fact, I showed a little bit of Run to Hero as well. But look at that. Isn't that cool? Look at that. It's so cool and stylish and colorful. It's great stuff. I can't read it really. Plus, there's that little unique quote that Sonic has. Because if you don't know about that, like, you do your homework for Sonic the Hedgehog if you care enough. You know, there's more videos out there and research out there on this stuff than I'm going to show, but I know a lot about like classic Sonic like art and presentation stuff. Like it was some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, man, good stuff. So here's the Japanese Mega Drive box art for this game, and it has Sonic 2. I believe I've always kept this one. I don't think I bought this back in 2000. I think in 2013. 2013. I think I've had it ever since. I used to have the European one as well, but I got rid of that one. It wasn't technically the European one, it was, I think, the Canadian one, because it was the European box art, but I think it still says SEGA Genesis on it. I think that's what it was released in Canada? I think. I don't know, because like, what we have is this, right? But if you look at the European box art, I'll show a graphic of it right here. It says Mega Drive, but I've also seen this, but it says SEGA Genesis on it, and it was literally a SEGA Genesis game, so not a Mega Drive game. So I was like, okay, so that kind of threw me off. I don't understand why that was, how that was, but okay then, it's whatever now. But Here's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Also, the Mega Drive games don't have these little flaps. Why do Genesis games have that? I don't know. In Master System games, why do they have those flaps? You know, it's really weird. There's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Looks awesome. Looks really, really cool. And of course, we have, oops, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I don't have Sonic and Knuckles or Sonic CD. I want to get them still. I've had these Japanese copies for years now. I've had them ever since, I think, 2016, 2017 I've had them. In 2015, I think. I don't know how long I've had Sonic 2 and 3, but I've had them for a while now. But I really want to get the Japanese copy. Sonic and Knuckles is like $100. And Sonic CD is like the price of like a new game. It's like $60 to get it in Japanese. So I'm going to get Sonic CD next. For sure, for this little collection, but not for a while. So I bought a lot of SEGA stuff recently, specifically for this video. So for these videos. So, you know, there's that. Okay, now we're moving on to the North American Sonic the Hedgehog games. These games I played 1,000 times, and I love them. Love them, love them, love them. I 100% of this game. And I don't just mean I played Sonic and Tails and got all the Super Emeralds. No, I 100%ed this game. I played it as Sonic and Tails, then Sonic by himself, then Tails by himself, and then as Knuckles. Now, and I got all the Super Emeralds. Now, when you play as Knuckles in this game, it actually takes place. It's actually like a second game, kind of. It takes place after Sonic and Tails' story. So Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 3 Knuckles is Sonic 3 Complete technically kind of has two games in it, two stories in it. You have Sonic and Tails' story, and you have Knuckles' story which takes place afterwards. Sonic Mania does something similar with its Encore mode, it takes place after the main game does. So I think that's pretty cool how Sonic 3 Knuckles does that as well. And then we have this beautiful, beautiful masterpiece of an already beautiful masterpiece. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 Complete. It's fantastic. This is the ideal way to play Sonic 3. It is. There's videos about this game. I'm going to make a video about it someday myself. But there's so many different customizable things you can do in this game. I recommend watching, if you don't mind cursing, well, if you made it this far in the video, you probably don't. But I would recommend Cybershell's video of Sonic 3 Complete. He talks a lot about the points that makes this game awesome. But yeah, man, that's it for my games. That's kind of it for my video. I'm not sure what else to say about the Mega Drive or Genesis. I'm making another video talking about things I want Sega to do for Sonic, but I think I forgot to mention them re-releasing these games, you know, on current consoles. Now they do technically do that, at least 1 and 2 in Sonic Spinball and, you know, other Genesis games. But I mean the Christian Whitehead remakes, those ones should be re-released on consoles, and there should be we need Sonic 3 Knuckles re-released. We really do. You know, the last time this game ever got officially released on console, I think was on the Xbox Arcade. I don't think it. No, yeah, it's not on PS3. It isn't, and that's really crappy. That's not. But that's a darn shame. You know, it really is. And for those SEGA Genesis compilations they do, I would love it if Sega. Okay, for the last one they released for the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, they should have included Sega Master System games, Sega CD games, and Sega 32X games as unlockables, as secrets. Like at least 5 or 10 of 5 of each. They should have done 5 of each. Yes, they should have done 5 Sega CD games, 5 Sega Master System games, and 5 Sega 32X games as unlockables. 2 of those games being Sonic CD and Knuckles Chaotix. Knuckles Chaotix is not the best Sonic game. I know it's got its problems, but damn it, it sucks the game never got truly re-released. But the game itself is kind of bad and not great. But, you know, it's still a part of classic Sonic history, and seeing it re-released on modern hardware would be great, and of some kind, so there's that as well. Alright, so goodbye, Sonic. That's all I gotta talk about you for now. I'm still a big fan of you, I love you, but I'm gonna put you aside for right now. Alright, so this video is almost completed. There's just a couple more things I want to talk about. So, the SEGA Genesis, as you can see right in front of you, has 2 console add-ons. The SEGA CD and the SEGA 32X. I'm not going to talk about them that much in this video because I want them to both have their own separate episode. While granted they're not technically consoles on their own, they require the Genesis to be powered on. They're console add-ons. They're console add-ons. I know they're add-ons, but they're also technically still consoles, so they kind of counts for me to make videos about them. Plus, they both have an extensive library of games. The Sega CD specifically has a really good library of games, like a really good library of RPGs and other games that I didn't even know about, that people seem to be fond of and loving. I will say this really quickly. I don't mind the Sega CD existing and being a real life thing. I like the Sega CD. The Sega CD is cool. That's all that should have existed. We did not need the 32X. I'm sorry, 32X, but we did not need you, man. I really wish we lived in a reality that all the games that were developed for the Sega 32X were instead developed for the Sega Saturn. I really wish that happened instead. And I also wish that the Sega Saturn possibly had Sega CD, Sega Genesis, and maybe even Sega Master System backwards compatibility built into it. And I don't, you know how it has a little RAM card slot in the back of it, in case if you know the Saturn? They didn't need to change that slot. What they could have done was release a cartridge, kind of like the Sonic and Knuckles cartridge, that's Game Genie cartridge, that lets you put games on it, like that lets you put Master System games and Genesis games on it. That would have been fine with me if they did that. But oh well. And it has built-in Sega CD backwards compatibility, because technically speaking, the Sega CD would have been a console release before it. So it would have been cool to Saturn have built-in Sega CD backwards compatibility, and that you could use the Saturn RAM cards as memory cards for the Sega CD. And that little cartridge I mentioned could have also been utilized for the Sega CD's memory card. Yes, the Sega CD has a memory card. Called the backup RAM, and I will talk more about this in my Sega CD video. In case if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then A, I'm sorry for kind of, in case you know what the hell I'm talking about, then that means two things. A, you don't know much about Sega history, which is okay. That's okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot about Sega history, but I will slow down things and talk more things out in my Sega CD and Saturn videos. And B, that's reason B actually. I'll talk more about that later. Don't worry. So right now, there's all that stuff with the Sega CD and 32X. They're great machines, but it's not something I want to talk about too much right now. There's something else I was going to show. Oh, that's right. How I mentioned this before. In case you don't know about this little fun fact, it says right here in the box for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, or Sonic and Knuckles, excuse me, it has lock-on technology. And it says on the back there, you can lock on Sonic 3 and Sonic 2 to get like the ultimate experience. And so, if you look at the cartridge, it doesn't look like your other Sega Genesis cartridges, right? You saw what a Sega. I think I showed a few games in this video. You know what they look like. You open it up, and there you go. You put games on top of that. Sonic 1 doesn't work. You get Loose Sphere with Sonic 1. But ideally, this game right here, Sonic 3, right here, is the best Sonic game ever made, and I agree with that. Debatably, Sonic Mania could be better, but to me, this game, this version of this game is the best Sonic game ever made. Sonic Mania is like a 99%. This game is 100%. Okay, or 95%. The only thing turning me off a little bit from Mania is its story isn't quite as good as Sonic 3's, or it doesn't quite build itself up like Sonic 3's did. That's kind of what it is. Aside from that, and yeah, I don't know. Sonic 3 is just overall more genuinely big, epic experience. Sonic Mania, it does that. Sonic Mania is like Sonic 3 and Sonic CD mixed together and had a kid, and that kid was Sonic Mania. But if you say that analogy sounds so weird or wrong if you watch my other Sonic CD video where I talked about how like the classic Sonic games are like all brothers. But it's like if Sonic 3 and Sonic CD had a kid basically, and that kid was Sonic Mania. Fine, it's great, but and I love Sonic Mania. I'm not saying Sonic Mania is shit. I'm not being hard on it. I love the game. I do. And in fact, I come back to it. I played it a lot, and it fits at home the classic Sonic games. But Sonic 3 to me is still the best one in a way. So, okay, guys, that's it. That is my episode 3. I don't even have the Genesis. I don't even have the Genesis in frame yet. I'm trying to wrap up the video. There we go. I'm just trying to put that back on. Okay, that is my episode 3 of my video game console reviews. This is my biggest episode yet, and the Sega Genesis is kind of my favorite console. It's my first console ever. It's my third favorite console of all time. No offense to the Super Famicom or Super Nintendo. No offense to other consoles. I just love the Sega Genesis. It might be even my second, because the Dreamcast and GameCube, they're my favorites, and I grew up with the GameCube more, but the Genesis, man, it's a console I'm discovering more about over time, and I don't know, the Genesis kind of is my favorite. I don't want to say like more than the Dreamcast, because the Dreamcast has done so much for me, and I got so much out of it so far. Like there's so many great games I got out of the Dreamcast. I got so many great experiences out of it. But I'm also learning and discovering more things about the Dreamcast over time. The Genesis and Dreamcast both, respectively. But, man, I don't know, man. The Genesis is fantastic for what it is. It's a great, iconic console. Many people had one. Many people have grown up with one. It is a very familiar system. And in case if you don't know much about the outside stuff about it, like about the 32X and the SEGA CD and all the other, and about it being released pretty much on everything, like it got, you know, it was put into a lot of pieces of machinery. It was. I think it was even put into a computer, or it was going to be, and that idea got axed. I don't remember, but there's a lot of stuff about the Genesis. There's a lot of releases of it. There's a lot of pieces of technology that have Sega Mega Drive or Genesis hard to put into it. Sega's Pico, which I'll talk about that system later, is basically a Master System / Genesis for children, for toddlers. It's basically an educational console for babies. But it builds off of a SEGA Genesis hardware. So yeah. So anyways, guys, that's it. That's all I gotta say. The Genesis is a very iconic, well-known system. If you don't have one, if you want one, they're very affordable. Don't worry. And I say pick one up. I say you absolutely should. If you don't have one, and if you don't really want one, but you want to check out games, that's super easy to do that. You know, it's the SEGA Genesis has been released on like every platform. If you have a PS4, a phone, a computer, or an Xbox One, and you're watching this video on one of those 3, 4, 5 devices, you can easily play SEGA Genesis games right now on the device you're watching this video on. On a PC or a phone, you have either emulation, or you can get the games officially off of the App Store / Play Store, or you can get them off of Steam. There's also a PC SEGA Genesis Collection Gold Collection thing release. I have the game myself. Yeah, SEGA Genesis, man, it's fucking everywhere. You cannot get away from SEGA Genesis games, and that's kind of a good thing because these games are classical, iconic, memorable, fantastic, and great. I didn't grow up with any of these games. I play these games as an adult, past my 20s. Well, I'm in my 20s. That's what I meant. I meant during my 20s, during my teen years, and I love these games. They're fantastic. They hold up so damn well. They're iconic. They're timeless. Man, Sega, man, they do not get enough appreciation as they should. They do not get enough recognition as they should. Sega gets overshadowed a little bit. But Sonic the Hedgehog overshadows Sega, like all the other great stuff. I love Sonic. He's fantastic. He's great, as you could tell, but he does overshadow other important parts of Sega that should be acknowledged, remembered, and played. I'll just say this. Next to Sonic, at least the Yakuza series is badass and doing great, and people know about it. So that's great to me. I love the Yakuza series. So it definitely deserves more recognition too, and I'm glad it's getting more. It should also come to the Switch. It should. It's already on Xbox. It should come to the Switch next. Okay, guys. That's really it. I have nothing else to really say. Oh, that was a long video. I didn't even get to talk about this. Right here. High definition graphics. It was at the time. I mean, I actually have a high definition cable for it now. So, yeah, it really is a high definition graphics. It also works with my 32X, so fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic freaking stuff. Okay, one last thing, which I'll talk about this more in my 32X video. But the Genesis Model 2, the 32X3, the Genesis Model 3, I believe, and the CDX all use a different video input cable than the Genesis and Master System do. They have a different AV input cable. See, look, there's the AV input cable slot right there. The Master System looks just like that, in case you see my video. Looks exactly like that one. See, they look very different, right? So, that's all I want to say. That looks very similar to the Sega Saturns, yet they're not the same cable. They should be, but they're not, which is a shame. But they should be, because they look so freaking similar. They're only different by like a little bit. Okay, I'm for real done. I'm sorry, I keep saying I'm done, and I gotta add this on. Okay, with that being said, guys, go out there, experience some amazing batch processing while you still can, and play Sega Mega Drive Genesis today. Because Sega does what no one else does. They kick some serious ass, in my opinion, and I don't know, I'm kidding. Other game companies kick ass. I'm not saying they don't kick ass, but Sega has always kicked some serious ass. This is Hazuki Warrior signing out, guys. Have a good one. Take care. Peace out. Goodbye. Long live Sega.